So this was an interesting 2003 Mustang Cobra to go to auction. What makes this Cobra stand out from others is it's a Kenny Brown Signature Series Cobra. And this one in the documentation shows that it was taken to Kenny Brown and the package was added. So that's a unique add-on. I'm not sure if it really gives any value to the car. It just shows the car was modified. Kenny Brown has done some nice work with the Mustangs over the years, and they really put a lot of work into the IRS system. They put new brackets and welded some stuff onto the IRS cores, and they made their own array of parts. And they talked about how they differ a little bit from Maximum Motorsports, for example, who takes the stock struts and modifies them to become a coilover, where they have their own setup of coilovers from Kenny Brown. And so, they talk about the reasons why they do what they do, and, they make a lot of parts just like other companies do. And so it's kind of neat to see this. I remember watching some Kenny Brown videos when they put them out on Motor Week. They talked about some of the cars. I never saw an '03 Cobra that was converted, but I'm not sure if Kenny Brown or the previous owner put the Powered by Ford badges on the fenders. It does still have the original horse in the grill. All the Cobras came with the running horse in the grill. So many people have swapped them out with the snake. You would think that they come with a snake in the grill, but they don't. And there's a lot of misinformation out there. And, I have friends who know people who know people who know people at Ford, and there are a lot of really weird stories people come up with on their own. And the friends I know say for a fact that the running horse was always there and nobody changed it. It wasn't something that was told to be changed at a dealership. I mean, you wouldn't believe what people come up with and the stories I've heard. But anyway, basically you can see it had the running horse there. But if you look at the front of the car, it actually looks like it has quite a bit of rock chips in it. And the car has 17,000 miles on it. Not sure how nice the car really is, or maybe it did a lot of road racing and that might be where it got a lot of rock chips. If you have the Kenny Brown kit on the car, maybe you're interested in racing it a lot, which isn't a bad thing. But a lower mileage car like this usually doesn't have this much damage to it. Now, it could just be dirty. In the past, I've made some observations like this, and somebody said, oh no, it's not rock chips, it's just dirty or whatever. So we'll just leave it at that. It could be dirty, but you can see light swirls. It is a black car, but these pictures do look like, the end caps there on the side skirt and the chips down the side of it. Maybe it did do some road racing or something. And so it's hard to tell in pictures whether it's in really great shape or not. I mean, it looks like it has a pretty big scuff scratch on the back of the bumper there, and light swirls and stuff. It does have an aftermarket SVT cap. It has some things done to it, obviously the Y2K Cobra R style wheels. The SVT badge has been removed and replaced with the Kenny Brown stickers. Not sure if that's something Kenny Brown did. I would imagine so, judging by it has it on the hood as well. Something that was a little more difficult to see on the black car is it actually has a vinyl or matte sticker on the hood there that follows the center of the hood and between the heat extractors. That's not a shine on the car, that's an actual matte colored sticker or something, and you could see that very well when the car went through the auction and it had the above view. It did have the Cobra R Brembo brakes. They're a little scuffed up, it looks like in the picture. MagnaFlow exhaust, and the interior has some changes. The seats mostly in harnesses and roll bar, and so you can see that in these pictures. I like the Terminator seats. I think they were great, but for someone who does a lot of road racing, maybe they think these are much better. And it has the seatbelt harnesses that go through, and it looked like they actually attached into the child safety latches that are behind the passenger rear seats. And so that looked like that's what that was. It does have a little dash emblem here for number 3, it looks like, of 2003 for Kenny Brown Cobras made. I haven't heard about too many of these being made. Not sure if it's something that's really sought after or not, or just something that's neat that has some modification done to it. I know I had talked recently about a competition orange Terminator Cobra that had gone to Kenny Brown and got everything put onto it after the fact. And so there's another one, not sure if it had a number like this on it or not. This orange one had the Ford Racing Whipple supercharger on it. The braces looked the same. It looked like it had a lot of the same stuff on it, even Cobra R wheels. These ones were chrome compared to the powder coated or gray ones on the other car, but red Brimbos from the Cobra R, cage inside, shifter's different, and I don't see a plaque by the shifter there that has any number on it like this black one has. So this is back to the black one that had the serial number on it. But basically, a nice little plaque there by the shifter bezel just to show what it is. There's no cigarette lighter or 12-volt plug like I talked about on the Mach 1 recently. HVAC controls changed. Nice to see the factory radio in there. And with 17,000 miles, it shouldn't have too many issues. It does have an aftermarket shifter that has kind of a weird stance to it. You can see how the position of the shifter points back and has the handle and kind of a weird look there. Now, I don't know if that's something that Kenny Brown did or if that's an aftermarket shifter. We'll go through the mod list here in a minute and just kind of talk about what it has. Still has the factory Cobra shift boot though, and shift knob. That looks good. Now, this does have a Whipple supercharger on it. If you look closely, you'll see it has the Ford Racing logo on the side of the Whipple supercharger. You were able to get those Whipple superchargers from Ford back in the day, and from what I understand, Kenny Brown would buy those and put them on some of the cars. So that's the understanding I have of it. Not sure if that's correct or not, but that was the case for the other Kenny Brown orange Cobra that I had talked about. It still has the factory plate here for the hand-built engine by SVT, which is what makes the Terminator quite special. And again, you can just see kind of the overall look of the car. It looks good. Looks like it has a nice stance to it. And so I'll just go over some of what was listed here about the car. It said it has the Kenny Brown serial number 03-003CX. So, kind of cool. It has some little serial number on it like that. The odometer reads 17,398. So pretty low mileage for an 03-04 Cobra. That in itself is what makes this car valuable, in my opinion. The Kenny Brown stuff is a nice add-on for some people. Other people prefer stock. It just really depends on who's looking to buy the car. But if you want to talk about a nice kit, getting all this stuff on the car, it was expensive to add to the car. And so for someone looking for something like that, it could be cool. So this was owned by the current owner since 2005. So they've owned the car for quite some time. It has obviously the supercharged 4.6 liter V8 engine, which is hand built by SVT. It was dynoed at 506 horse and 429 torque. So that's typical for a early gen 2.3 liter Whipple supercharger, and that's what the car has on it. And I'm sure that's on a conservative tune with lower boost. My brother has the same Whipple on his Cobra, and his did 590 to the wheels, so that's about 85 horsepower under what my brother's dynoed at with the same supercharger, but it appears this has a 3.5 inch pulley on it. It's hard to tell in the pictures, but if it does have a larger upper pulley, that would be less boost and a little bit more conservative. It appears to have the blue fuel injectors, which would be 39-pound stock fuel injectors, and that might be another reason why it's on kind of a low boost conservative tune. They didn't want to change the injectors out, and the car can't make as much power with those. Obviously, 6-speed manual transmission. It doesn't say anything about upgrades to that, so I would think that if it had an upgraded clutch kit or something, it might have the 26 spline input shaft, but it doesn't say anything about that. It does have 373 rear gears, so that's been changed. Again, it does have Recaro front seats, not Ricardo. Somebody called them Ricardo front seats once, but it has the Recaro front seats, and according to what we see in the back, it looks like this is a graphite suede seat car, so not parchment. Parchment would have been more rare, but of all the black 03 Cobras, there were 1,618 of them made with the graphite seats, and so that's the most produced of all the 03 Cobras were black in this configuration. And that's how many black 03 Cobra coupes were made in this configuration. And so as we continue to go down the list, the Kenny Brown has, like I talked about, the IRS, which they call the Advanced Geometry IRS rear suspension module with tubular lightweight upper and lower control arms. And those, like I said, had the brackets welded onto them. They did some modifying to that IRS cradle. And so that's a lot of work done to the car. So, whether you like that or not, you prefer stock or not, it does have a lot of work done to that. Has the coilover rear and upper shock mounts, the IRS forward torque brace, IRS rear steer kit, and aluminum IRS differential bushings. Okay, we saw the cage. It has a super street cage. I talked about the Brembo brakes from the Cobra R, and that's what it is. It's a 4-piston setup. Okay, front advanced geometry suspension with K-member and coilover springs, with Bilstein shocks and front control arms. It has a cold air kit. It has the Recaro seats with Schroth harness, SCHROTH. Not sure how to pronounce that, but all you road race guys will probably tell me I said it wrong or right. Obviously the Cobra R wheels I mentioned before, they look to be like powder coated or painted black or a grayish color. MagnaFlow exhaust. Dyno sheet. It does have the SVT welcome letter, and it has receipts for the Kenny Brown conversion. So to me, I would assume that means the car was taken to Kenny Brown and converted. So it was fun to watch this car go across the auction block and see it on there. Again, on the top view, you can really see that hood stripe, vinyl overlay, whatever that is. Now, anybody who's had an 03 Cobra knows that when people push on that rear spoiler, that is the #1 way to crack the third brake light. I've seen this happen before at the racetrack when somebody snapped an axle and they pushed him off the track and cracked the brake light. So unfortunately, they were pushing on the spoiler when they pushed this car off, and so hopefully that didn't crack the third brake light, but that was something I noticed and I cringed when I saw it. And the people bidding on the car drove the bid up pretty good. So I think for the mileage for an 03 Cobra, it sold for about what they're worth, and it hammered at 40,000 even. And then if you go to the website and you see the total price with fees, the car sold for $44,000. So that's pretty strong for an 03 Cobra, especially one that doesn't really look like it's in fantastic shape. Now again, that could be just the pictures, but it does look like it's got considerable rock chips and bumps and bruises, maybe from being road raced and things. So cool car, very nice. Awesome to see these cars holding value and going up in value. And again, I'm not sure if the Kenny Brown package added or took away from this car or helped it or not. But the car looked like it was neat. Now, some people might think, oh, Kenny Brown, and they think it's like Roush or Celine or Shelby or something, and they just think it's worth something because it has a serial number. Maybe that helped the price. I'm not sure. If you know more about these Kenny Brown cars than I do, which you probably do, go ahead and put it in the comments and let me know, and let us all know. We can all learn from this, and you can, say whether this is one that Kenny Brown had taken and modified, or if, like it sounds, it's a package that was added later on, which was the case of the other Cobra that I knew of. And so I'm not sure if Kenny Brown had any Terminators that they built. I know they did with some of the earlier New Edge Mustangs I'd seen on Motor Week and stuff. They did a cool little episode about it, but I didn't really hear much about these before. So I'll put a link below to when this car went across the block with what time it went across, so you can skip through that video and see it if you'd like to watch the car across. I always like doing that. I think it's pretty fun. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and stay tuned for more Mustang content.